Imagine you're living thousands of generations before the first spoken language. You're walking through tall grass when you notice movement nearby. Maybe it's food. Maybe it's a predator. Your friend is several feet away, completely unaware. You need to warn them, fast. But there's a problem. No words, no sentences, no shared vocabulary. So what do you do? The surprising answer is that you'd probably communicate better than you think. Because long before humans could speak, our ancestors were already reading faces, following hands, recognizing sounds, and even moving together in rhythm. Language didn't create human communication. It entered a conversation that had already been happening for millions of years. And once you see how that ancient system worked, you'll start noticing that you still use it every single day. Quickly, before we go back in time, if you enjoy discovering the hidden history behind ordinary human behavior, tap the like button and subscribe. It helps the channel, and there's a lot more to explore. Now, let's begin with the communication tool you're carrying right now, your face. You can look at someone across a crowded room and immediately sense that something's wrong. They don't need to speak. Maybe their eyes suddenly widen, their jaw tightens, their attention locks onto something behind you. Before your conscious mind understands the situation, your body is already preparing to react. That's incredibly useful. For early humans, silently broadcasting danger could mean the difference between escaping a predator and attracting its attention. A shout might alert the group, but it could also reveal everyone's location. A frightened expression was quieter and fast. Faces could also communicate trust, anger, submission, curiosity, and affection. These signals helped individuals navigate complicated relationships without requiring anything close to grammar. But faces had an obvious limitation. You had to be looking at them. That's where hands entered the story. Watch young children before they can speak fluently. They point toward objects. They hold things up for adults to see. They reach toward what they want. They wave, push things away, and raise their arms when they want to be carried. Their hands begin communicating before their mouths can form sentences. Great apes also use intentional gestures. Chimpanzees may extend a hand to request something, touch another individual to begin grooming, or use movement to invite play. They pay attention to whether the other animal is watching. If the signal is ignored, they may repeat it or try something different. That matters. It suggests they aren't simply performing automatic movements. They appear to understand that the gesture is meant to change another individual's behavior. Our distant ancestors probably relied on a much richer version of this system. A hand could indicate direction. An arm could stop a group from moving. A body leaning forward could signal readiness. A person could demonstrate where food was located or show someone how to perform a task. Some researchers have even suggested that language may have begun with gesture. In that version of the story, our hands handled much of the early communication. Vocal communication expanded later, allowing information to travel when hands and faces couldn't be seen. Because gesture works beautifully in daylight, it's less useful in darkness. It also fails when people are separated by trees, rocks, or long distances. Sound solved that problem. Before words, our ancestors probably used calls with different pitches, lengths, intensities, and rhythms. A sharp burst could mean immediate danger. A softer, repeated sound might maintain contact while a group moved through dense terrain. We see simpler versions of this in other primates. Some monkey species produce different alarm calls in response to different predators. Members of the group react according to the threat. A danger from above demands a different response from a danger moving along the ground. These calls aren't language in the human sense. There's no complex grammar or unlimited vocabulary. They do carry useful information. Early humans likely combined calls with facial expressions and gestures. One signal alone might be vague. Several signals together could be much clearer. Picture a hunter suddenly freezing, lowering their body, pointing toward the grass, and making a quiet warning sound. No sentence was spoken, but the message would be difficult to misunderstand. Then there was rhythm. Rhythm may not seem like communication, but think about what happens when people clap, sing, march, or dance together. Separate bodies begin following one pattern. A group starts behaving like a unit. That synchronization can create a powerful feeling of connection. We still experience it at concerts, sporting events, religious ceremonies, military drills, and even birthday parties. You don't need to know someone personally to clap with them. For a moment, you're participating in the same action at the same time. For early communities, rhythm may have helped produce trust and unity across groups that had become too large for every relationship to be maintained through one-on-one contact. A repeated beat could also organize work, movement, or celebration. Hands striking wood, feet hitting the ground, or stones being tapped together could create rhythm without specially designed instruments. Music may be ancient, but the human desire to move together could be even older. Communication also happened through posture and distance. Think about how differently people hold themselves during conflict. Someone trying to appear threatening may stand tall, spread their arms, and occupy more space. Someone attempting to avoid confrontation may turn away, lower their head, or step backward. We read these changes almost automatically. Distance carries information too. Standing close may communicate affection, protection, intimacy, or aggression. Moving away may signal fear, discomfort, or rejection. The meaning depends on the relationship and situation, but the space between people is rarely meaningless. Touch added another layer. A gentle hand placed on someone's shoulder feels different from a sudden grip. A quick tap can attract attention. A long embrace can offer comfort without explaining anything. Words can describe emotion. Touch can make another person feel it. But early communication wasn't only about immediate danger or emotion. Humans also faced a harder challenge. They needed to preserve knowledge. Imagine learning to make a sharp stone tool without a teacher explaining each step. You'd watch carefully. How is the stone held? Where does the first strike land? How much force is used? What angle creates the right fracture? Then you'd copy the movement. If you failed, the experienced toolmaker could stop you, reposition your hands, repeat the action, or demonstrate it more slowly. That's teaching without a lecture. Early humans could have transferred hunting techniques, food preparation, navigation skills, and plant knowledge through demonstration and imitation. This ability changed everything. An important discovery no longer had to disappear when the person who made it died. Others could copy it, preserve it, and perhaps improve it. Knowledge began accumulating across generations. Eventually, however, gestures, calls, and demonstrations reached their limits. You can point toward a river that's visible. It's much harder to explain a river you crossed 3 years ago. You can demonstrate how to shape a stone. It's harder to describe why one kind of stone works better than another when neither sample is present. Language allowed humans to move beyond the here and now. With words, people could discuss absent places, past events, future plans, imaginary dangers, and individuals who were no longer alive. Grammar made the system even more powerful. A limited number of sounds could be rearranged into an unlimited number of messages. Yet language didn't erase what came before it. It was added on top. That older system is still operating whenever you talk to someone. Your words carry one message. Your voice carries another. Your facial expression, posture, timing, distance, and eye contact add even more information. That's why the same sentence can mean completely different things depending on how it's delivered. Sure, that sounds great. It could express genuine excitement or complete disbelief. The words remain identical. The older channels reveal the difference. It's also why you sometimes sense tension before anyone admits there's a problem. You notice shorter responses, less eye contact, unusual silence, or a body turned slightly away. Your brain begins assembling the message before a direct explanation arrives. Human communication before language wasn't empty or primitive. It was layered. Faces broadcast emotion. Hands directed attention. Calls carried warnings across distance. Rhythm bonded communities. Posture organized relationships. Touch provided comfort, and imitation carried knowledge into the future. Words made communication more precise, but they didn't build its foundation. So the next time someone answers you with a shrug, gives you a certain look, or pauses just a little too long, remember what you're witnessing. It's more than body language. It's the surviving trace of an ancient communication system, one shaped long before dictionaries, alphabets, or even the first spoken sentence. A system built to connect one mind with another, and somehow, after millions of years, it still gets the message across.